also very indirectly, the symbolic language begs that we interpret. It also allows us to hide. And so as a mother, sometimes I want to communicate to my children, and what I do is to pack my messages in poems, which sometimes they read today, but sometimes I was writing for Baraka when she was 4 years old. I was writing for her when she turned 18.
Are your children writing poetry as well?
All my children write. They've written poetry at different times. Why do I think my Twitter live is not working? My children write different... Well, it's going. Hi, guys, on Twitter. I see you. Hi, Justice, Hunter. Hi, Sekalanda. Hi, Luke. My children are writers of poems. And Waswa writes poetry in relation to his emotions. Kato writes rap music. But to write his lyrics for his rap music, he's writing poetry. Baraka, I think, among the 3 children, is the one who studied literature because she wanted to study law, although she's now changed and she's studying medicine. But she wanted to study law, and so she did a lot of poetry study and writing. Many times when I'm struggling with rhyme, I say to her, Baraka, what rhymes with jurisprudence? And she'll give me a word. What rhymes with delusion? I was writing a poem yesterday, and I was looking for what rhymes with delusion. I was writing about peace being a delusion. And Baraka gave me confusion, obtrusion, like all these words.
And so rhyming together.
All my children are writers. I think part of what we have as Ugandans is the beauty of our education system, that even in primary school, children are taught poetry. We are taught okuton, toma.
So Stella, we have seen you use your poetry in so many different aspects, and I think the most notable aspect was when you got arrested and sentenced to 18 months in prison for a poem that you wrote. When you wrote this poem at this point, did you ever expect that the poem would carry you that far, that your message would actually get to the recipients and the people who needed to hear this message?
Well, yes and no. So, I mean, hi, Isaac Semakade. Isaac Semakade is on the Twitter space. Hi, my lawyer. And he defended me a lot. And I think we've had this conversation many times. Hi, Alicia Kienji. I see you. You're in Bavaria with us. In terms of the poem that I wrote that took me to prison, remember before that poem, I had been arrested for writing a Facebook post in where I say, Museveni matako butako. And that is poetry because it's rhyming. Museveni tako. Museveni matako butako. Olulimi lwayogedde lwabadde lutako. Okay? And that's figurative language. To mean there is this president who is poo-pooing or shitting in our country.
And I like the very fact that you actually speak about the weight of the language that you use in your poetry. And I think that so many Ugandans have had a really hard time digesting this vulgarity in your poetry.
I think that is very pretentious.
Yeah, but I mean, the question is, when you mention Stella Nyanzi, the first thing anyone would say is, oh, she's so vulgar.
Not everybody will say that. Some people say, oh, she's so gentle, she's so mild, she should be much more aggressive. The sort of poets, the feminist poets I write with, say to me, that time you used matako butako. Maybe instead of using a pair of buttocks, you should use our body as women. So women were calling me to use our body parts. And the poem that takes me to prison, because this one took me to court. Isaac Semakade is on the space, ably put up a legal team, and they fought. They fought against madness because the state said that woman is mentally sick. We must examine her. Okay. But Isaac fought that case, and then women said, they were saying she's vulgar. These women said, no, she could have said much worse. And I want to say that the poem that took me to prison, I use the most sacred part of womanhood.
Yes, Stella, but
the vagina.
You don't answer my question.
The vagina.
For most people, and this is one of the questions that actually popped up. Why the vulgarity?
The vagina is not vulgar. All of us we are going to Mother's Day. The vagina is not vulgar. I see you're shocked, my dear. You have it. She has it, I have it. These men, if they love women, they are in it and they came from it.
Okay.
As a feminist person, I want to teach women that our body parts were created by God, and when He created us, He said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes, but what image does this set as a
That
mother?
we are women. I have taught my daughter that if the worst comes to the worst, use what tools you have. And the vagina is very clean. It's beautiful. Humanity came from the vagina. We're celebrating Mother's Day. Would there be any mother if we didn't have that body part? What makes it vulgar? Stop allowing the patriarchy to determine our body parts as dirty. We came from there. We wash those body parts daily. Omuntu atatawaza yekka yekka yasobola okugamba nti emmana ewunya emmana akyafu omuntu oyo muwemu. In Buganda, before we leave this point of vulgarity, in Buganda, as a Nalongo, I have license to use this language. Now, in terms of fighting against a dictatorship, where we don't have guns, we don't have money to go to sue the president, sue Muhozi. As mothers, what do? I was a mother who went to Makerere University, studied literature, studied how to write poetry. I specialized in poetry. I studied mass communication. The day that I wrote about Museveni's mother's vagina, I wanted to make a point that there were so many members of parliament, women members of parliament. Our First Lady is the Minister of Education. There were so many, at that time Rebecca Kadaga was the Speaker of Parliament. Those women were not challenging Museveni.